Hey my friends, it's Link. I wanted to hop on here just with my phone to tell you guys, as soon as we finished taping this episode, the news broke about the horrific shooting in Minneapolis. So I hope you'll enjoy the episode, but I want you guys to know off the top, I'm heartbroken for these families and my heart goes out to those who are affected, especially these young children. So I love all of you. Kiss and hold your loved ones today dearly, and I hope you enjoy the episode. I will be covering this tragedy as it unfolds on my social media, but of course, as soon as we finish taping, this news broke. Well, my friends, welcome back to Spot On with Link. Lauren, we have some hot topics today, okay? Let me be the first to tell you, Taylor Swift got engaged. If you haven't heard, Taylor Swift is now engaged. We're gonna break all of that down. We also have to discuss Meghan Markle Season 2. Season 2 of Meghan Markle's Netflix show is an utter calamity. We have to talk about Vanity Fair. The folks at Vanity Fair are threatening to walk out if they put First Lady Melania Trump on the cover. And last but not least, we're gonna break down Kim Kardashian allowing her 12-year-old daughter to go out dressed like a little trollop. So without further ado, we're gonna pay some bills really quick. Stick around and then we'll dive right in. I don't know about you, but after I travel, my skin is dry. That's when Peak's Radiant Skin Duo came to the rescue. This doctor-recommended duo, trusted by experts like Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Jason Fung, and Dr. Will Cole, supports whole body wellness from the inside out. Sun Goddess Matcha provides steady, calm energy throughout the day, packed with L-theanine for focus and EGCG antioxidants. It supports skin clarity and gut health. BT Fountain electrolytes hydrate like nothing else and help lock moisture in, making skin look amazing. And Peak ensures all ingredients are free from heavy metals, pesticides, and mold. If you need more hydration, then give Peak a try. Get 20% off plus a free frother and glass beaker here, peaklife.com/link. Again, that's peaklife.com/link. Well, the homecoming queen has finally gotten engaged to the quarterback of the football team. Okay, that's what I feel when I look at Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. This couple, they're madly in love. He's got his arm, his bicep. He's grabbing her little skinny Taylor Swift waist. He got her a $550,000 ring, a diamond the Mars rover could see from outer space. That is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. They're officially engaged, and I couldn't be happier for them, right? Taylor Swift, of course, she made a mistake endorsing Kamala Harris. She bet on the wrong horse there, but she's written albums and albums about picking the wrong person. And so when she endorsed Kamala Harris, I thought, you know what? She's gotten wrapped up in things. I still enjoy some of her music. She's a very successful businesswoman, and I couldn't be happier. I'm always going to root for love. I am a big softie. Underneath my often loud and bitchy and aggressive demeanor, I am a big softie and I'll always root for love, especially Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And I think one thing I'm happy about is that Taylor Swift shows you gotta just stop dating these emaciated, anemic, vegan-looking, skinny, artsy guys, right? One of her ex was the lead singer of a band called the 1975. I think his name was Matty Healy. Something like that. Then she dated this sort of brooding actor named Joe Alwyn who didn't really want to be seen with her too much, which I don't understand because you have like no career, you're a flop. Your claim to fame is Taylor Swift. We wouldn't know you if not for Taylor Swift. She dated Tom Hiddleston, another like skinny, pale British actor. It's time she dates an all-American football player. Okay, she needs this big, burly man. I don't know, he's 6 foot something. Maybe my producer can tell me. He has to be like 6'5", 6'6", 6'4". She needs like a big, burly man with a dad bod, with hair on his chest to toss her around. Okay, that is what she needs. Okay, 6'5". My producer has told me we have incoming news from the stratosphere. He is 6'5", dad bod, burly, hair on his chest. That's what she needs. No more of these little emaciated, skinny guys. Travis Kelce also seems like the type of person who's not intimidated by her success. He's not intimidated by the fact that she sells out huge tours and she's got billions of dollars and she's a superstar, right? He seems to celebrate that and be totally secure in himself as a man because of that, because he's at the height of his game, right? Playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl. Maybe they'll be back at the Super Bowl this year. Maybe Taylor Swift will do the halftime show and they'll get married on the field. Oh my God. What if Taylor Swift does the Super Bowl halftime show, Travis Kelce's in the Super Bowl, and they have their wedding in the middle of the field as fireworks are going off? Taylor Swift, I feel it, I sense it. So Taylor Swift, we're happy for you, sweetheart. Okay, we have some information here, okay? So they're engaged. They've been dating for 2 years. They confirmed it in an Instagram post. They said your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married. Great, okay. They posted several pictures. The ring is a $550,000 square oval diamond in a gold bezel setting. Like I said, the Mars rover could see that ring. Okay, that is a big ass ring. And as I've said before, okay, there are some things I will only do for diamonds. That is a diamond I would do some things for, okay? Sorry to my mom's Bible study if y'all are watching, but that is a diamond. If a man gives you that diamond, sweetheart, okay, if you're not Taylor Swift and a man shows up with a $500,000 square oval diamond in a gold bezel setting, you better come correct, okay? You know what needs to be done, ladies. So they apparently kept their engagement under wraps for a while. A source exclusively told Page Six that Travis Kelce actually proposed a couple of weeks ago. So we're happy for them. We couldn't be happier for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I think it's bad karma to wish ill on people, especially over politics and silly stuff. Like, yeah, she endorsed Kamala Harris. It was dumb. She posted the thing with the cats. But we have to allow people to evolve. Even if you look at the Republican Party now, right, you've got Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., former Democrats. It's a big tent party. People are allowed to evolve and change their political views, right? There are folks years ago who knew nothing about eating healthy or ultra processed foods or seed oils, and now they're totally maha, make America healthy again people, right? So folks can evolve. I don't think Taylor Swift is going to wake up tomorrow and be some super conservative traditional wife like some folks online are saying. She's going to be a trad wife now. She's going to be trad, and I'm not even sure I know what that means. But there are also some folks that say Taylor Swift needs to submit to her husband now, and she needs to be a little bit more submissive. And I get what folks are getting at, even if it seems harsh. I do think it would be nice that she has a man with some masculinity, right? A man who, if someone breaks into the house, he can throw a punch and he can protect you. Because Taylor Swift has never had that before. She dated like a Jonas brother, right? She dated a Jonas brother. She dated Joe Jonas. So she dated a Jonas brother, and then she dated like scrawny little British actors. So it's time for Taylor Swift to have a real man who can pick her up, throw her on the bed, make love to her. So anyway, no, I'm happy for Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. They're a cute couple. Their babies are going to be hot. I don't know what their prenuptial agreement is going to look like. The prenup is probably going to look, okay, like the Odyssey or Moby Dick. Okay, the prenup is going to look like Moby Dick. It's going to be massive. So it's going to be massive. Oh, I'm treading lightly here. So they're going to have a big prenup. I'm here to tell you, I think it's time for Taylor Swift to evolve. We've spoken about this in past episodes. Taylor Swift needs to evolve. She's 35, going on 36. She's written albums for 20 years about being a girl and being a young girl and wanting to fall in love and have that fairy tale. And, you know, her biggest song, Love Story, a guy gets down on the knees. He knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring and said, "Marry me, Juliet," right? That was in one of her songs. So now she's living that real life fantasy. I'd love to see an album about motherhood, right? Getting married and the trials and tribulations that come with that, right? When the fairy tale settles, because everything's fun in the beginning, you know, talk about connecting with your child, give women other stories and narratives other than I'm this young girl. Even on the last album, right? She's talking about being a young girl. You're not this young 17-year-old girl anymore. So I'm excited to see her evolve. And the divorce album's going to be great. The divorce album's probably going to be amazing. That is going to be like Reputation Part 2, okay? For those of you who are in the know. So Taylor Swift, we are happy for you. Well, if you follow me on social media already, you have seen this. It's been all over the internet, tens of millions of views and impressions. Kim Kardashian allowed her 12-year-old daughter to go out in a corset, bustier, push-up bra, a skirt, these real chunky boots, tons of makeup. Women, moms, grandmas, dads, grandpas have been writing me the past 48 hours horrified. Okay, when I first saw the pictures, I thought maybe this girl is like 17, 18. Did North grow up really fast? Did I miss something? I thought maybe she's bucking the system. Maybe she's coming into her own. No, she's not even a teenager. She is 12 years old, and her mom is trotting her out in front of the paparazzi looking like this. And I don't know what kind of mom allows her 12-year-old daughter to go out looking that way, putting her up for mass consumption where people are going to criticize her body. She's being sexualized by people on the internet. It's disgusting and it's gross. And I'm judging Kim Kardashian. People say you shouldn't mom shame, you shouldn't judge. I am judging Kim Kardashian, and I'm not even a parent, because who allows this to happen? Who allows their kid to go out? Apparently, Kim Kardashian. And what can we expect, right? Kim Kardashian, what role models does she have in parenting? Her dad, unfortunately, deceased a long time ago. Okay, doesn't have her dad. Robert Kardashian passed away. Her mother, Kris Jenner, as we talk about all the time, the devil works hard, but Kris Jenner works harder. So Kris Jenner, right, she's the same mom. She's the same mom who stood to the side as Kim was posing for Playboy and said, "You're doing amazing, sweetie. You're doing amazing." That is who Kris Jenner is, right? So how can we expect Kim Kardashian to be any different? That's who she was raised by. And I feel like in life you can go down two avenues, okay? You can either break the cycle and be a totally different parent than the one who raised you, right? That happens when people grow up in tumultuous household, or they have an abusive parent, what have you. They say, you know what, I'm going to break the cycle and switch it up. Kim Kardashian has decided just to emulate and recreate the parenting that she had from her mother, Kris Jenner. And I think it's pretty gross and disgusting. I just don't know who allows their 12-year-old daughter to go out like that. And I think it's a fine line, right? So many people in my comments said, if you want your daughter to express herself and experiment at home with makeup and hair and try on clothes in your closet, who has a better closet to play in than the Kardashians, right? It's probably a little girl's dream. But when you put her out there in front of the paparazzi and tens of millions of people, probably hundreds of millions online discussing her, that is where I start to judge you, Kim Kardashian. And they were also dancing around in this video to a pretty provocative song. The mom, Kim Kardashian, looked pretty drugged out. She's got her breast out. And what can we expect, right? We discovered Kim Kardashian on her back. Up until a few years ago when Skims really took off and she became a successful maven, she was famous for her sex tape. She was famous for sleeping with rappers and basketball players. That's who Kim Kardashian was, right? She always used her body and her nudity to garner attention for herself. And it seems like maybe she's passed that down to the child, or at least the child has gleaned that just through osmosis. But remember, Kim Kardashian, she had the sex tape. Then there was the magazine cover where she was basically completely nude, frontal, back. It was the Break the Internet paper magazine. You guys can go Google it. We won't be putting it up on the screen. And so I think this is just who Kim Kardashian is. And I think none of the Kardashian kids are growing up with a father in the home, right? There's no judgment there. There are plenty of people who grow up without fathers in the home. I live with my mom my entire life, right? But I think these young girls living in Hollywood and this fast lifestyle and the compound in Calabasas, and there's no father in the home, and there aren't any good male role models around the Kardashians at all. I think if you had a dad who was a carpenter, an electrician, a plumber, just a blue-collar, all-American guy, and the daughter who was 12 came down looking that way, the dad would say, absolutely not. F no, go back upstairs and change. But there's nobody like that. And Kim Kardashian's mind is probably warped from growing up in Hollywood, being famous. So I don't think she's in a position to really challenge the daughter, but I think it's gross and I think it's disgusting. Now, this next story I already posted about yesterday. I was heated over this because just like clockwork, this happens all the time, right? The liberal literati, these folks who preach about diversity and acceptance and loving everybody, they don't love diversity of thought. And that's what we've seen with the folks over at Vanity Fair. So Vanity Fair, the editor-in-chief, a man named Mark Giudici, reportedly wants First Lady Melania Trump to be on the cover. But the folks at Vanity Fair are threatening to walk out and protest if they put the First Lady of the United States on the cover. Here's what they said: "I will walk out the mother effing door and half my staff will follow me." One editor fumed to the Daily Mail. "We are not going to normalize this despot and his wife. We're just not going to do it. We're going to stand for what's right. If I have to work bagging groceries at Trader Joe's, I will do it. If Giudici puts Melania on the cover, half of the editorial staff will walk out. I guarantee it." My message to the staff is, bye, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Goodbye. Okay, if you're a little pansy crybaby and you can't handle that your magazine might put First Lady Melania Trump on the cover, this probably isn't the industry for you, right? When we've seen in the past, look at Vogue magazine and Anna Wintour. They put Jill Biden on the cover 3 times. They put Michelle Obama on the cover 3 times. This is what happens, right? If you're a Democrat, you could be a terrible first lady. You don't have to be good looking. You don't have to have any success. You don't have to have any good initiatives. But what do? Because you happen to have a D next to your name and you're a Democrat and you check their boxes, you get put on the covers. You get nothing but positive press. First Lady Melania Trump, because she happens to be married to a Republican in the Republican Party and have an R next to her name, suddenly she's persona non grata at these magazines. But you know who doesn't care? You know who doesn't give a rat's ass? Is First Lady Melania Trump. I'm here to tell you, this is one of the most secure, confident women, right? She's been on the cover of magazines. She's modeled. She's a high fashion, gorgeous supermodel. Okay, objectively, I can say this, objectively, the most stunning first lady we've had at least in decades, probably ever. So First Lady Melania Trump, does she care that the folks at Vanity Fair want to put her on the cover? Probably not. She's been on the cover before. I think First Lady Melania Trump was on the cover back in maybe 2017 or at the beginning of the first term or right before the first term, maybe in 16 or 15. So she's been on the cover of Vanity Fair. Does she need to do it again? No, she's probably busy raising Barron, working on the Take It Down Act, working on Be Best. She now has a new AI initiative. She's focused on doing things that are actually going to help kids in this country. I don't think First Lady Melania Trump cares about being on the cover of Vanity Fair, but this is what the liberal literati does. They melt down and they flip out if a Republican woman gets anything cool or exciting, right? If you put a Republican woman on the cover, we're going to walk out and bag groceries. And like I said, my message to them is go ahead and walk out. And what's interesting to me, and I've spoken about this before, when you look at First Lady Melania Trump, right? She's an immigrant. She's self-made. She came to this country. She pulled herself up by her bootstraps and made things happen, right? She had a full successful career before she ever met Donald Trump, before she ever became First Lady of the United States, right? And she's carried herself with grace, dignity, and class as she's had friends stab her in the back, right? Friends stab her in the back, turn on her, get unfair press time and time and time again. She's carried herself with dignity. You can even look at someone like Usha Vance, right? I think she's the first Indian second lady of the United States. She's the first South Asian second lady of the United States. But because she's a Republican, she is going to get bad press as well. So First Lady Melania Trump and Usha Vance, these are folks that the left would have loved, right? You've got Usha, you've got Melania, who's self-made, she's an immigrant, she speaks all these languages, but because she happens to be a Republican, she gets crapped on by the liberal media. But the good thing here, and I'm looking at these quotes still, the good thing here is that these folks have no influence anymore. They just don't have any influence, right? They want to do a walkout and do some like Gandhi protest and walk out of the Vanity Fair offices because they might put Melania Trump on the cover. Go for it. No one cares, okay? With social media, everything's online now, the democratization of media in general, you guys don't have that much influence. Same with the major networks. Look at like MSNBC and CNN and all these networks. You guys don't have that much influence. No one cares. So you guys can walk out, you can go work at Trader Joe's, you won't be missed whatsoever. And as you guys know, I love the First Lady of the United States. I think she's great. I think she's incredible. She's been so unfairly maligned for years. If she ends up on the cover of Vanity Fair, great. If she doesn't, I'm here to tell you, she certainly doesn't care. Are you a yo-yo dieter? You diet, lose weight, but gain it all back plus a few extra pounds. Studies show that it can lead to unwanted health issues. Breaking free of your yo-yo diet pattern is a main reason doctors created Lean. Lean is a supplement, not an injection, and you don't need a prescription. Lean's natural ingredients target weight loss in 3 powerful ways. It helps maintain healthy blood sugar, it helps control appetite and cravings, and it helps burn fat by converting fat into energy. If you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace, Lean was created for you. Let me get you started with 20% off when you enter link20 at takelean.com. That's code link20 at takelean.com. Well, just when you thought Netflix couldn't go any lower, they finally dropped season 2 of Meghan Markle's cooking show With Love, Meghan. So the Duchess of Scamelot, the Duchess of White Castle, this little huckster from Montecito, Meghan Markle, she is back. I watched the first few episodes because I must be a masochist and I do these things for you, right? I sacrifice, I'm a martyr, I do it for you guys. I watched the first few episodes. I didn't see any cooking. I didn't see any cooking in the show. That was my first takeaway, okay? I wrote copious notes on the first few episodes. There was no cooking whatsoever. It was just this crazy woman walking around doing arts and crafts and making flower arrangements. I really felt I really felt watching Meghan Markle's show, season 2, it's like she had a lobotomy or she was in an insane asylum, but she wasn't in on it. It was like the people who came over to hang out with her in her rented kitchen and to be on the show, they all were in on the joke. It's like the Truman Show with Jim Carrey. Okay, he doesn't know that he's living in this fake world, and they're all like, I mean, there was one point where Meghan Markle said something that she thought was funny. Nobody reacted. And then they're like, oh, yes. Like, they were all hostages. They all seemed like they were there against their will. They're fighting for their lives. Let me look at one of those quotes. So then later on in the episode, Meghan tried to get their attention again, and she said, no one's talking anymore. Yeah, because nobody wants to be there. These people were fighting for their lives. I actually felt bad for the people, and this is supposed to be a show with her best friends. These are like her best lifelong friends. She's never met most of these people before. In fact, the only person she really knows is Daniel, the makeup artist, and then she makes him do her makeup, and he doesn't want to be there either. Okay? He looks like he's being held against his will. But no, Meghan Markle, it's like she's in an insane asylum, but they've let her do arts and crafts and flower arrangements and things where she can't get hurt. That's what I felt. Okay? So one of the things she does in the episode is called water marbling. I have never heard of water marbling. It's like watercolors, but it's in water. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're at the bottom of the barrel scraping. Then they go outside and they do flower arrangements. I'm here to tell you, okay, she puts together terrible flower arrangements, but she's delusional enough to think that she's amazing at everything. And she's like, well, it's all about finding joy. It's all about finding joy. And one of her quotes, actually, that's going viral, she said, you have to anchor into your own knowing. What the hell does that mean? You have to anchor into your own knowing. This is just liberal garbledy-goop California speak, okay? Then she does this thing called Feroshki rapping. What the hell is Feroshki rapping? Okay, when she said Feroshki rapping, I was like, is that a rapper? Like Jay-Z? I was like, what is Feroshki rapping? So on the show, they decided, since she really can't cook at all, like she's a terrible chef, and then when she does cook, there are insects and bugs in her food, they just let her do arts and crafts and flower arrangements, and every person who comes over to hang out with her, they are being held against their will. And one of the women she had come over to hang out with her is none other than Chrissy Teigen. And then Chrissy Teigen could not even remember her own kids' birthdays. Let's take a look at that clip.
Two of their birthdays because I don't remember.
Sweet.
Yeah. So April 14th, May, wait, is that 16 or 18? Oh no.
18.
Oh
18.
no, that's John? Is it Brett? Or no, who's this? Miles is May 16th. There we go. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit blurry.
It's all right. It's all right.
You got a husband and a tattoo to help you stay on top of all the things.
Now, Chrissy Teigen, she's bottom of the barrel gutter trash. No one cares about Chrissy Teigen whatsoever. She's made horrific comments about young kids. She bullies people online. This is the best Meghan Markle can do, though, because her A-list friends want nothing to do with her. Beyonce's not calling her, in my opinion. Oprah's not calling her. Tyler Perry. All these people are like, oh, her clout is really down. You know when Meghan Markle was useful to Oprah? When she was giving her her first exclusive interview and shanking the royal family and accusing them of racism with no evidence, right? There was no basis for her claims. But that's when she was useful to Oprah. Then Oprah was done with her. And even some of the reviews on season 2 of Meghan Markle's Netflix show. Let's put up one headline from the Daily Beast. Meghan Markle's show returns for another season of carefully curated inauthenticity. This is rough, right? The Daily Beast is no friend to the right, to even anybody who's independent. They usually love liberals. The Independent gave her 1 star. I can't find one decent review except from People Magazine. Of course, People Magazine, who I think, in my opinion, works in tandem with Meghan Markle. That's just my gut instinct. People Magazine is just churning out article after article about how amazing the show is. I think they think if they gaslight people, they'll believe that the show is better than it is. Now, Meghan Markle, at one point, she does decide to cook in the show, and she shows us her specialty. Her specialty is apparently putting flowers on things. She just loves to put flowers. I think she's under the impression, even if my food sucks, if I throw some flowers from my dirty, dusty, rented garden on top of the food, people will enjoy it. Let's take a look at that clip.
What was that you just added?
Flower sprinkles. I love them.
Wow, that's the gayest I've seen in a long time.
Now, Meghan Markle is the executive producer of the show. One thing I noticed in the credits, it says executive producer Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. She's really using that title. She is really using that title. She's wearing that into the ground, okay? She's really using that darn title, Meghan Markle. I think she spent 5 hours in Sussex. She's still using that title. So she's an executive producer. And one thing I kept thinking, don't you know the real royal family over in London in the UK? Catherine, the Princess of Wales, Prince William, all the kids, Charles, Camilla. They're seeing this footage if they're watching it all and going, thank you, God, she is gone. Because when you look at the Netflix show, she's executive producer. This is the best version of Meghan. This is it. When you look at With Love, Meghan on Netflix, especially season 2, this is the best cream of the crop, top of the heap version Meghan Markle can present of herself to the world. They've edited it down. She's in hair. She's in makeup. They brought people over who are supposed to bolster and boost her. And it's still a disaster. It's still cringe. She still seems like an insane woman who has been let out of a cage for a couple of hours to do arts and crafts. You understand what I'm saying? So if that's the best version of Meghan, imagine Meghan when she's angry and upset behind the scenes. Imagine Meghan when she was over in the royal family for about 18 months and they had to put up with her and there were no cameras around. If this is the best version of Meghan, imagine what they have to deal with when she's in private. That's really what I kept thinking. Now, Meghan Markle did an interview with the Bloomberg podcast to try and promote season 2, right? She's not going on the big shows because I think the big shows are done with her, right? She went on Drew Barrymore. It was a flop. It was cringe. She told some weird story about FaceTiming her kids because that's the kind of mom she is. She goes and does arts and crafts and drinks during the day instead of raising her own children. That's who Meghan Markle is. And so she went on this podcast with Emily Chang, and I want to play you a clip real first because she asked her, what would people need to know about you if they could know the truth? Let's take a look at that.
If you could choose one thing for people to know the truth about you, what would that one thing be?
No one's ever asked me that. What a great question. The one thing. Oh gosh, what's the one thing? Oh gosh, I think when I sit with it for a second here, I just want people to know that I'm a real person. And I think a lot of that gets lost in what can be super dehumanizing when you look at the clickbait culture and how much is written about someone.
Now, this is a recurring quote from Meghan Markle. I believe she has said this multiple times that there's a real person. I'm a real person. Did you guys know I'm a real person? Let me tell you, when you're a real person, you don't have to constantly remind people you're a real person, okay? You don't have to keep saying, you know what, I'm a real person. It makes me think you might be an inauthentic, phony little huckster who conned the royal family into thinking you were a Hollywood actress when you aren't, okay? You don't have to constantly say, I'm a real person. I'm a real person, you guys. Are you? Are you? Because all of your stories don't add up. You say one thing, then it's the opposite. You grew up in poverty living over a garage, and then we find out your dad allegedly paid for you to go to private school and you went to Northwestern. I don't know. Things aren't adding up. Okay? You're really close with your family and your friends, but then at your royal wedding, you invited a bunch of celebrities you never even met before and then disinvited some of your own family members. So that's who the real Meghan Markle is. I want to play you this next clip of Meghan Markle, where she basically talks about being a fashion icon and wanting to move more into the fashion space.
I'm open to the possibilities of what can happen, certainly in the expansion of As Ever. I would not put beauty or fashion out of the mix. I think those are things that people associate with me.
She says people associate... She says people associate beauty and fashion with her. I think those are things people associate with me. No. What we associate with you is like borderline personality disorder, probably some type of DSM-5 diagnosis, being a huckster, like fashion icon. When she's walking around in those little jean booty shorts with her scrawny legs, like fashion icon, when everything she wears is wrinkled like a burlap sack. She doesn't have a steamer. She doesn't have an iron or a steamer. I mean, remember that Time outfit? It was the Time Magazine 100 event where she just wore those crazy billowing pants. And we're not going to pay for all the pictures. Y'all can go find even better pictures for yourselves. But those crazy billowing pants that Meghan Markle wore, and she thinks she's a fashion icon, I haven't seen but maybe 2 or 3 really good outfits on Meghan Markle. Honestly, 2 or 3. Even her wedding dress, even Meghan Markle's wedding dress needed another fitting. The wedding dress just didn't even look right. You know what I'm saying? So for her to say, people associate beauty and fashion with me. No, not really. You're like the Duchess of Sun Damage too. I mean, I don't think anyone's coming to you for beauty and fashion advice. And I also think you should have struck while the iron was hot. You know, if Meghan was going to do all this beauty and fashion in a clothing line, why not do it when you first left the royal family? And Meghan Markle is just one of the laziest people. She'll do like one drop of her jams, jellies, and dog biscuits or whatever the hell she's selling. And then she's like, well, I'm done. We've done a drop. Maybe we'll do another next year. So Meghan Markle, her show is terrible. None of these people are her real friends. They all are watching her like, oh, she's really unwell. Like, I actually think at a certain point, I might have to stop covering Meghan Markle. No, that's never going to happen. But there's a part of me covering her where I feel like, this is an unwell person, right? We need to maybe add that into the conversation when we talk about Meghan Markle. In my opinion, we're not dealing with someone who has their full faculties. This seems like someone who is unhinged, who has some type of issues, and maybe we need to stop trying to, need to stop expecting her to live in a normal world and to do normal things. And I think Prince Harry, who grew up in the royal family, it's interesting. He's nowhere to be found here in season 2. Haven't seen him yet. He's probably avoiding this show like the plague. Okay, he's probably at home on psychedelics and mushrooms and maybe some of her jams and jellies, just praying he can get out alive as well. Because Prince Harry, he was in the royal family. His mom was Princess Diana. He knows class upon class and elegance. This is one of the most low rent things I've ever seen. Low rent things I've ever seen. I mean, she's in a kitchen doing flower arrangements and thinking she's the next Martha Stewart or the next Gwyneth Paltrow Mother Goop. Okay, this is some low rent stuff. But no, I actually think Meghan Markle is unwell. And Meghan Markle, I also imagine we could hear some screams from Montecito yesterday because that was supposed to be Meghan Markle's big day, right? Season 2 of her Netflix show is coming out. It's Meghan's big day. And then Taylor Swift announces her engagement. Taylor Swift announces her engagement and upstages Meghan Markle's big day. And we actually, unlike any other podcast, we got some footage on Meghan Markle's reaction to finding out Taylor Swift announced her engagement. Let's take a look. That is literally Meghan Markle. Okay, that is how I imagine her, okay? She's in the McMansion in Montecito with Harry and the kids and the nannies and Doria. And it's supposed to be her big day. And for the first few hours on social media, people are talking about her Netflix show, even if it's being canned and getting 1-star reviews. Taylor Swift's announcement of her engagement pushed every other story to the bottom of every news site. Okay, down to the bottom. And then the Prince and Princess of Wales were liking Taylor Swift's post. And, you know, Taylor Swift has had interactions with Prince William before. I believe they sang with Bon Jovi on stage. I believe they sang Living on a Prayer maybe 10, 15 years ago. So maybe we'll see the Wales family at Taylor Swift's wedding. I know they went to the concert. So no, Meghan Markle, she's been totally upstaged. This Netflix show is a flop. I don't think we'll be getting a season 3. If this was even a season 2, it seemed like a lot of leftover footage. I mean, there was one point where Meghan Markle in the show, they're making aprons for their kids. She and that annoying stylist guy, Tan France from Queer Eye, they're doing aprons for their kids, but they use like vegetables to dip into the paint. And he's looking at her like, what the hell is going on? But because he's a show pony too, and he's done a reality show and been on Queer Eye, he's sort of just appeasing her and assuaging her and going along with it. Everybody just seemed like they were going along with it. There was no star power. So Meghan Markle, we wish you well. I do think you are unwell. And she even said in the show that at one point she had been unwell. She said, I was not well. And I'm like, well, you don't seem well now. You don't seem like you're doing much better, sweetheart. And she cannot cook at all. And she has these bizarre, contrived conversations. Actually, I think the last thing I'll say now that I'm just sitting and thinking here, this is what we do on podcasts, right? We sit and we talk. When I get together with my friends, right, I don't even cook, but if we're all hanging out in the kitchen or we have friends over for drinks and we're partying and hanging out, we're talking about real things, right? We're getting into real conversations and laughing and having fun. Or remember that one time in this, Meghan Markle has these really bizarre conversations about joy and being anchored in who you are. And it's all about knowing who you are. Who are you? You talk about knowing who you are all the time and people knowing the real you. There is no real you. And these aren't your real friends. I don't think Meghan Markle has tons of real friends at all. We would have seen them at the wedding. We would have seen them at the wedding. Okay, Serena Williams, one of her best friends, has never been in this Netflix show. I don't think we'll be seeing her. So Meghan Markle, we wish you well, but we have to move on. Now, this next story I had to cover because I was looking on TikTok. People were sending me these videos of the Burning Man Festival. Now, Burning Man Festival, it's this big festival that happens out in Nevada. They do all this kind of weird stuff. I have tons of friends who are burners, I think they're called. They go to Burning Man all the time. I have friends who work in politics at the high level, at the highest levels of politics. They're really into Burning Man. Okay, all the tech billionaires and CEOs, they're into Burning Man. I'm looking at this footage on the screen of this dust bowl that came through Burning Man. I want to sneeze so badly. I'm trying not to sneeze just from looking at this video. This looks like hell on earth. Okay, this looks like my idea of purgatory. You could not pay me to go there. I'm not a Coachella person. I'm not an Austin City Limits person. I don't do music festivals because I don't do porta potties. I don't like to be without my creature comforts. I don't like to be without my Wi-Fi and my bath and my Dr. Teal salts. I don't want to go rough it anywhere. Okay, if that was the life I was meant to lead, then I would be leading it. I don't want to go rough it. The last time I went camping was when I was like 15 in New Mexico, okay? I'm done. I've had it. And when I see this dust bowl rolling through Burning Man, you couldn't pay me. You could not pay me to go to Burning Man. Now, I know folks go to Burning Man and they have a lot of fun. Oh, right? It's sex, it's fun, it's music, it's dancing. Apparently there's no currency at Burning Man from what I've been told. You like barter with things, sort of like in a women's prison, you like trade tampons for bars of soap. So I don't know, they have their own sort of financial system over there. And so they have their financial system at Burning Man. But you could not pay me to go. And let me read you a little bit about what's going on if you've seen these viral videos. So a powerful dust storm wreaked havoc on Nevada's Burning Man Festival over the weekend, tossing around the campsites and trapping incoming burners in up to 8 hours of nonstop stop and go traffic. The National Weather Service issued warnings about the storm in advance, noting it would bring in a fast-moving wall of blowing dust. This looks like some type of Mad Max thing. I've never seen Mad Max, but this looks like some type of apocalyptic thing. You know what I'm saying? And my skin, my eyes, my lungs, I'm not going to be breathing in all this dust bowl and this smoke, okay? Ahead of the storm, folks tried to salvage their belongings and they piled into any RV with open space to take shelter. As the winds and dust blew through the desert festival grounds, the burners watched through the RV windows as their campsites flew away. Okay, no, this is just not going to be me. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Would you ever go to Burning Man Festival, especially now that you're seeing this footage and these videos? You just could not pay me unless there was a helicopter right by to take me away. If there was a helicopter to pick me up and ride off into the sunset, then I would do that. But not ever going to see me at a festival. Like I said, I don't rough it. I don't do this. I'm not a festival person. And I feel like there's crap that goes on every year at Burning Man. It's either you're stuck in this insane line of cars, there's a storm that comes through, there's a dust bowl, there's a dust bunny. You just couldn't pay me to do it. This looks horrible. It looks horrific. Well, last but not least, Kamala Harris, she's not only bankrupt morally and bankrupt having no policies, no political acumen, she's also literally bankrupt with her campaign. So we all knew Kamala Harris blew through allegedly billions of dollars. I don't know where all that money came from for 107 days during her calamitous campaign, Miss Kamalamity. Maybe Kamala Harris spent all her campaign money on like Cabernet and the minibar. I don't know. Maybe she spent it on martinis and pills. But Kamala Harris, her campaign, apparently they're having the DNC pay off her debts with some type of handshake deal. Because when you're an elite Democrat, oh, who cares if you leave behind tens of millions of dollars of debt? Someone else will come along like the Soros family and they'll pay it off for you, allegedly. So here's what's going on. Kamala Harris and the DNC have made a handshake deal which saw the party cover all of her outstanding campaign bills, according to a report. Under the terms of this agreement, the cash-strapped DNC paid off about $20.5 million in debts owed by the Harris campaign in exchange for the Democratic presidential nominee's pledge to raise more money for the party in the future. So basically, she's going to do some fundraisers, maybe in the midterms, maybe moving into 2028. She's going to help do some fundraisers if they pay off the debts now. I don't know if she's going to bring in the big bucks. I don't think anyone's really supporting her for 2028, so I wouldn't count on those fundraisers making a lot of money. So the Harris campaign, if you guys don't remember, put on several star-studded concerts in the days leading up to the election. They spent an eye-popping $1.5 billion during her 15-week run, and they still lost the popular vote in every single swing state. So Kamala Harris could not be more of an abject failure. And the fact that the DNC is coming along and paying her bills, it's so pathetic. It's so sad. And it just shows you that she had nobody running that campaign. She was just, I don't know if maybe they were consultants fleecing the campaign. I remember at one point, Kamala was running ads in Florida. And I remember thinking, why is she running ads in Florida and spending all this money in Florida, a state she has no chance of winning? So either they were actually dumb or they were playing dumb so these consultants could make millions of dollars. I would love to know the paper trail and sort of the tree of how all that money matriculated, whose pockets it ended up in, because something is sketchy to me. Okay, there's some buffoonery and tomfoolery and malarkey going on with Kamala Harris's finances. She's going on a book tour to promote her book 107 Days, or as I think should be a 107-day stint at the Betty Ford Clinic, 107 shots of vodka. Kind of an easy morning for Kamala, who typically wakes up and downs a bottle of aspirin to nurse her hangover. So no, Kamala Harris blew through $1.5 billion conservatively. That's based on these estimates, and she still has tens of millions of dollars of debt that is being paid off by the DNC. So Kamala, good for you, sweetheart. I don't see any big future for Kamala in presidential politics. I think she'll try to run. You know, she's not running for governor. Maybe she'll try to run for president. But when you're blowing through money like that, 1.5 billion in 15 weeks, and then you're trying to, couch yourself as this relatable woman of the people, working class hero. No, you look like an elite San Francisco chick. That's who you are, Kamala Harris. So we wish you well, but we'll be seeing what happens as we move closer to 2028. Well, now we have to talk about Masa Chips, one of our incredible sponsors for this podcast. They've been a sponsor for a long time because I absolutely love Masa Chips. You guys know me. I can't be bought. You can't pay me to say something, but I absolutely fell in love with these chips when they sent them to me, and now I give them out to my friends or they use my code. What I love about these chips is that they don't break in your guacamole or your salsa. They're sturdier than your typical Tostito chip, so I want you guys to try Masa. But another reason I love Masa chips is that they're made with just 3 ingredients: organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. That's it. No seed oils, no junk. Masa is what chips should be. So go try them and you will taste the difference. Masa Chips is beloved by tens of thousands of customers and has been endorsed by industry-leading health and nutrition experts. You should give Masa a try, so go to masachips.com/link and use code LINK for 25% off your first order. That's masachips.com/link, code LINK for 25% off your first order. Well, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in to Spot On with Link. Lauren, thanks for sharing the podcast with your friends. Thanks for commenting. I read through all these comments. Okay, there could be 2,000 comments on an episode on YouTube. I'm going through, I'm looking, I'm combing through. Thanks for those of you who check us out on streaming services, Spotify, Apple. You give us 5 stars. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys on the next one. We have a little mini episode coming out on Friday real quick. There's one story I wanted to cover that we didn't have time to get to, so we're going to do it on Friday. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.